Hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of looking at old tuner magazines from the 90s and 2000s. Last time we looked at sort of a parts catalog from 1991, showcasing what aftermarket parts you could buy for your GM Opel vehicle in 1991. Today we're going to be moving back into the future. We're going to be looking at this edition of Flash Opel-Scene from September 2003. So 12 years in the future from where we left off. And this one again is not really about isn't much of a sales catalog as it was last time. As the name implies, this is more of a scene magazine. So we're going to be looking at what people were doing in the early 2000s in the car scene, in Germany, of course. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off. The title car for this magazine is this Calibra Jagdfieber. This Jagdfieber is German. It stands for hunting fever. I think you can translate it as. So I don't know what they will be hunting, but if we have a look here. We have a V6 Calibra actually, so we'll get into that later. So we might that Jagdfieber title might not be all smoke and mirrors, let's say. So what do we have here? We have a Calibra, obviously, but it's not quite a stock one anymore. The most obvious detail that's been changed, I would say, are these wheels, which if you're an astute viewer of the channel, let's say, or just interested in GM Opel history, you might recognize these. These are wheels from the Lotus Omega. We talked about that one tangentially, I think, in a few videos ago. But the Lotus Omega, of course, if you know any Opel vehicle and you don't live in Europe, you probably know the Lotus Omega for being the world's fastest production sedan at the time it was built. And this fella here seems like he was able to score a set of these wheels that were made bespoke for that model. But not just that, these are also chromed. So they look very nice on this car, I think. We have the proper 2000s fart can at an angle as well. And interestingly, a full cage in the interior and real bucket seats. And still keeping that original airbag steering wheel. So we're very safe. Definitely here. And there's some stereo going on back there. Looks like the rear seat has been disposed of in favor of that. And of course the TV screen in the dashboard. It was the 2000s after all. Now looking at the back, it's an interesting detail. The trunk release is actually in the right tail light on these, and you can see it here especially well because these have been smoked or darkened. And you can see right here there was no latch for you to pull. You had to put the key in here and to open the tailgate. And I think it's interesting how they incorporated that inside the tail light molding. And this one also has a bit of a body kit going on. The front is It's quite aggressive with that a big air intake there. But other than that, these were usually done a lot less tastefully than this, I would say. So there's there's some side skirts here, and there's a bit of a different rear bumper on it. But other than that, there's no egregious wing on it. There's I quite like this one personally. I'm not sure what that is, if that's supposed to be a fire extinguisher or some sort of nitrous injection. I think it's a fire extinguisher. And that looks like the fuel pump sticking up out there in the trunk. So it might have an actual fuel cell in it. We're getting to the fact sheet here. I think this looks really good, doesn't it? This body kit, it works well with the lines of the car. It says it's been lowered in the front by 9 centimeters and 8 in the back. And that really helps the stance, doesn't it? It's it plays into the overall design. Long, sleek, not much decoration going on. It's very nice. Also, if you notice, these Lotus Omega wheels are not directional. They're just the same wheel 4 times. So you can notice that here pretty well. I mean, they're pointing that way. In the other picture, they're pointing this way. Just thought I'd point that out to you. These M3 mirrors were on everything as well. They're not actual M3 mirrors. I'm not sure who made these. I think a lot of different companies made these for different cars. These ones are from Steinmetz. And there we see the V6 engine in there. And it's definitely crammed in there in the engine bay. This matter of fact, this the strut tower bar is all wavy and curved to account for that. But yeah, this was a factory option for the Calibra, quite a rare one, and I think it says 2-point-something liter V6. Most of these had 4 cylinders. It was really meant for the 4-cylinder. The V6 was only later developed and then stuffed into the Calibra as an afterthought because they were able to make it fit. Unfortunately, the V6 was only available in front-wheel drive. They were not able to make it work with the all-wheel drive system that the Calibra was available with in 2 trims, actually. Not many people know this, actually, but there was the turbo 4x4 that everyone knows, that had the C20 LET with 204 horsepower. But you could also get this all-wheel drive system in this car with the C20 NE single cam 8-valve 4-cylinder. And those are really rare. I think not many people ordered those. Anyway, it says here this one, it's pretty much a stock V6 with an open K&N intake, you can see here, and makes 170 horsepower. So that's about right for what these made from the factory. Moving on from this more subtle style, I suppose. I really like this color too. It's purple. This is purple is a great car color, I think. We don't see this enough. Anyway, moving on from it, we are way on the other end of subtle, where we have this Corsa styling wave, Corsa California, or styling wave. Well, here it says it here on the side. It's the G has been omitted and replaced with an apostrophe, making it even more styling. But yeah, this is a real time capsule, I would say. Recently, I've seen a lot of renewed interest in this 2000s car scene and tuning style, sort of what you would have seen in the Fast and Furious. I think it's an interesting development, but it also makes sense because if you recall, we've had a long time of like very low key, very subtle OEM plus kind of dominance in the car scene, and that being sort of the dominant aesthetic. And I would say people are starting to get bored of that by now, and they don't look for subtlety as much anymore. It's fun is kind of making a return, I would say. And this is definitely that. If anything, this is fun. It's not particularly tasteful, but it's definitely entertaining. And yeah, I like these articles as well, because sometimes I'll tell you about the owner. So this guy who owns it is a Belgian called Barry van Nijversail. I think that's how you pronounce it. Must be from Flanders. And he lived in Brussels at that time and was a physiotherapist. So he's, I guess he's familiar with body work. Anyway, so him being Belgian also means that he doesn't have to comply with any of the German rules, which were already quite strict in the 90s and today are draconic, so to speak. So he didn't have to contend with all of that. So you'll notice a pattern in the January 2004 issue we looked at. There was also a Corsa that looked like a V6 Renault Clio. That was also Belgian. That would have never been allowed in Germany. I suppose this one is a case of the same. So let's have a look here in detail. Obviously, the paint job sticks out, kind of jumps at you first. Then the wheels. An interesting detail I'd like to point out here is look at the size of those brake rotors compared to the size of the wheels. Like here we have the ones in the back, and these would have been drum brakes. Yeah, look at that. These tiny drum brakes in the back with these huge, I think 18-inch wheels, chrome, and then that steering wheel, of course, matching that. So Euro. Oh, and yeah, that now we're really getting into it. Oh, look at that. So they've done the paint job going into the door, and yeah, that's pretty cool actually. I can't even hate on that. That's really cool. We have the huge subwoofer in the trunk, and some kind of like EQ. I'm not sure. I don't know much about that, but this is pretty cool. This glass window or plexiglass window here, with the fuse box behind it or some sort of circuitry. I don't think it's probably something for the stereo, isn't it? Yeah, all molded like some kind of glob coming through the inside of the trunk. Super 2000s. And we have some little fake vents going on. Yeah, this is something. If you're American, you might have. This might be something very unusual for you. The Corsa is a very small car. Yeah. If you're in the UK, this will be a lot more familiar to you. The Corsa was a real staple of the tuning scene in the 90s and 2000s and even 2010s. If you look at the old kind of max power era, it was full of Corsas. And yeah, the rest of Central Europe was no different. And now here we have another shot of the back of it. We saw, yeah, they are 18-inch wheels. I thought so. We saw earlier in the article that it produces about 120 decibels of noise, which, yeah, it's only allowed if you're Belgian. But it must be straight piped. I can't imagine there being any way for this to develop this much noise without that. And then when we look at what's producing all that noise, it's that that bone stock single jingle 1.4 liter, which I don't know, what would this have had, like 60 horsepower, I think. Sort of a stark contrast to that exterior, isn't it? Poor little machine would have had a hard time turning these heavy chrome 18-inch wheels, I think. But speed is not the the point of this, I don't think. It's all about style, you know. It's in the name, isn't it? And styling, it definitely is. Like this, the interior has also been upgraded. It's not completely revamped. Like this is a stock Corsa interior, more or less. Some of these panels have been made like silver. In the future, everything is chrome. And that steering wheel, of course, is super 2000s with like these like these screws going around the center cap. But yeah, this might be something that there's something that's missing today, I would say. It's this kind of silly, in your face, obnoxious, fun kind of build. I hope we'll be seeing something like this more often in the future going forward. Yeah, here's a final picture of it. And the guys who are responsible for it, they're also definitely styling. I wonder where they're at today, 25, 26 years later almost. Actually, wait, no, at 22, 23 years later. My bad. I hope they're doing well. Okay, moving on. We have something that's a lot more to my taste personally. I like more the old school stuff, like the 70s stuff. I used to hate stuff like this. when as a teenager, when it was actually on the road, you know. I just couldn't stand this. I thought it was so silly. I was always more like the 60s through 80s kind of person. I'm a boomer at heart. So this really speaks to me, I have to say. This is an Ascona B, which was produced from 1975 until 1980, late 1980, I believe. And this one is a late model as well, 1979. And it's done in that that quintessential 80s style, and West German 80s Opel tuning style. So what does that mean? That means you had to have 13-inch wheels, maybe 14-inch, but definitely not larger than 14-inch. Look, these are 13s, and they look like maybe 13 by 8s. They're PLS wheels. You wouldn't see these so often. You would usually see like ATS Classic, or like Smith Revolution, but these definitely fit the car. And you had to have it lowered, of course. It's actually somewhat similar if you're familiar with the Japanese Kyusha style. There's definitely some visual commonalities going on there. For the most part, you wouldn't really have that much. You wouldn't have like crazy wide body kits going on. It was more about sort of, the stock body just lowered on small wheels, and the paint was important. So this has some kind of metallic blue paint that looks really nice. But you also see a lot of the time elaborate designs. Airbrush was a big thing. This grille spoiler was also like on every Ascona B back in the day. I don't know who made it. I think it was Elmshaw. This llama wing on the back, I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. It would look better without that. Here's a shot of the side. This one has a bit of a bell-bottom thing going on, actually, with this front bumper. I think this is kind of one piece. So this is a late model. On the back, you can see these already had plastic or rubber bumpers and more plastic bumpers. Early ones had chrome, and a lot of people prefer the plastic ones because they're easier to paint and they're lighter as well. And this one has that on the back, and it looks like on the front it's been replaced with some sort of aftermarket bumper altogether. And it has a bit of a lip that's continued here in the side skirt. I really like this one. It has a little bit of a design going on there. I'm a big fan of this. If you're into like the Japanese Kyusha style, you should look at some old footage of like 1980s, early 90s Opel-Scene meetups. I think that might be something you'd be interested in seeing. This one has a 2.4 liter Cam head, which is completely built apparently. It has some forged pistons and rods, 300-degree hydraulic cam, and ported head. So yeah, the whole 9 yards, as you would say, and it's injected as well. Big fan of this, I must say. Yeah, here we go. Is that anyway? Is it? No, it's not injected, is it? Oh yeah, I was tweaking. It just says electric fuel pump. No, but it has yeah, it has double Weber carburetors. Um, wait, what? No, okay. Scratch that. I'm blind. It has it is fuel injected. These are not Webers. Yeah, no, okay, now that I take a better look, definitely not. It's interesting, actually. I didn't have a good look at it before. Looks like it's some kind of mechanical fuel injection actually going on. Okay. I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit further after this video is done. Wow. Okay, but moving on from this one, we have the, at the time, brand new Opel Speedster, which, if you're not familiar with it, this was developed and built completely by Lotus. So it doesn't really have anything to do with Opel except the engine. It's more or less a Lotus. And this was supposed to be the like the halo car for the 2000s lineup. Opel did a big redesign or revamp in their design language in sort of 2002, 2003 with the Vectra C, Astra H, and Corsa D, or yeah, I think Corsa D. And this one, the Speedster, is supposed to take those cues of that newly established design language and yeah, give them some sort of status or something to aspire to. It was definitely, like, you can tell the Lotus influence on these. These are super bare bones. They're not meant to be comfortable or luxurious at all. They weren't even particularly expensive when they were new. I think they were like half of a Porsche Boxster or something. And they came with Opel engines, a 2.2 liter 16 valve, naturally aspirated or turbocharged, I think. But yeah, these are effectively a Lotus, and they're super lightweight. The materials used on these is not great. Like the whole dash is plastic. These mirrors are non-power adjustable. I think we had to actually adjust these by hand. The convertible, I'm not sure. I think the convertible was the only option. I don't think there was like a fixed roof version of this. The convertible top, target top, wasn't really known for being the most weatherproof. It was really, yeah. Like I said before, it's a Lotus that's supposed to drive well and not do much else. And these side vents are actually functional because this is a mid-engine design. Yeah, this one has they had the 2.2 liter naturally aspirated one, and then the 2 liter turbo, which this has. This is kind of the coolest part of the design, is these exhausts stacked on top of each other. Seems like on this test drive, it broke down. It's unfortunate for them. Let's continue with this Astra. Yeah, I was talking before about the 2000s era of tuning where it was super bombastic and in your face, and people are starting to become more interested in that sort of thing again now. This definitely fits with that. It definitely does. Like, look how wide this is. I don't know. I was reading the article earlier. It says it's all done in metal. Like the side skirts are fiberglass or something, but this is all like custom metal work going on. And you can see in this picture also just how wide this is. Insane. And these wheels really fit it as well. Here's another shot from the back. Like, look at that. That's pretty crazy. I actually really like how this car looks, save for this hood. This is a hood from an Astra G, which is the following generation to this, which looked a lot different than this. And the normal Astra F hood would just be flat and there would be a grille piece here, whereas on the Astra G, the grille was integrated into the hood. And I think it just does not work with the rest of the design language. Because, yeah, actually in the 90s on the Astra F, the chief designer at Opel was a man called, what was his name? Hideo Kodama, yeah. Not Kojima, Hideo Kodama, who had been working at Opel and their styling center since the 60s. He got on board fairly quickly after it was established in 1965. And he worked with people like Erhard Schnell and George Gallion, who's well known for designing the first generation Opel Manta. And Mr. Kodama really brought a Japanese look to the 1990s Opels. And it's quite evident on the Astra F, the stock Astra F at least. And in such details as this line on the side here. Like this belt line, this accent line. That was a really Japanese thing in the 90s. You can find that on a lot of Japanese cars from that time. Like the Nissan S chassis, they all had this. And so does the Opel Astra. And I think this hood is just too radical a departure from that design language. But the rest of it is really cool. I mean that earnestly, like, it's aged well, I think. This is, you have to consider the time that this came from, like the Fast and Furious time with the really ostentatious, garish body kits and decals going on. This is actually like tasteful, if that makes sense, considered compared to what the standard was at the time, let's say. And I could see this as being something being built today, like as a nostalgia car. I really like this paint as well. It's like this this flip-flop effect. Really cool. I like this one a lot. And again, like, you have to have the big stereo system in the back. Well, like aside from the exterior, on this one is really cool, the interior. The whole thing on the inside is airbrushed with like space motifs. It's got like planets and lightning and moons and clouds and stardust and everything. Yeah, airbrush was a big thing then, and I would like to see that come back as well. To be honest, like it was really elaborate on this one as well. Like the A pillars are done, the whole dashboard and the center console, the seats, or like the seat mounting. This is, yeah, I'm a big fan of this, to be honest. That's really cool. That's very unique. Also on the the engine cover and on the sun visors, yeah. No, that's really cool. Like, this was made in the time of like Alex K, or like what are some of the people you would be listening back then, like the club, the house music era. But this would fit also with something more modern. This would fit with like the Playboy Cardi era, I would say, and still work. Like the hyper pop era, this would fit in totally. Yeah. Well, that's enough. It's enough rambling about that. It even has the shift knob airbrush like that. Okay, that's the Astra G generation. That's where the hood is taken from. You can see it looks a lot different, and it works on that car. It doesn't really work on this car. Then we have some ads for a body kit for the Tigra, a wheel specifically for the Astra G, aluminum door pins, and some exhaust. Have some more ads, a very 2000s wheel, and a 19-inch wheel, 8x19, super thin spokes. I don't think this would look good on a lot of cars. It also has a super shallow offset, no lip at all, and these weird screws there holding, I guess, the face to the barrel. I think this is probably two-piece. Anyway, we have some more stuff. We have the D&V catalog. It's a bit, that's really a legendary piece of media here in Germany. In the 90s and 2000s, it would have every tuning part, every aftermarket modification you could have in it, and also like some very, I think, erotic photographs of women in it. I guess that also didn't hurt its popularity. Maybe one day I'll make a video about the D&V catalog if I can get a hold of one. But they're really sought after now. They're kind of expensive. Maybe if the channel really takes off, I can justify that investment. For now, let's move on to this Cadet C. Again, this is something this is more my speed, personally, more my taste. It's pretty much stock, the body. This is the two-door wagon version, which was, I'm not sure, I think this one would have been like the Voyage or the Caravan. Usually the Caravan would be the four-door wagon and the Voyage would be the two-door. But they might have changed it for the Cadet. I'm not sure. not super important either, isn't it? And this one has a 2-liter 16 valve engine in it. So the GSI motor, C20XE, which is I think, yeah, you see this from time to time now, but it's quite quite a difficult swap to make, to get rid of the overhead valve or the cam and head motor that these would have came with, and make it work with the C20XE. Because like the biggest, strongest engine you could get from the factory in these would have been the 110 horsepower injected 2-liter cam and head, and these make 150 horsepower stock. So you can imagine all the other parts associated with the drivetrain are not meant for this kind of power. So you have to change the brakes. This one has ventilated discs from Record. I'm assuming Record E. Yeah, you have to change the gearbox most of the time. The rear axle on some of them is not quite optimal for that. I think the ones that came with the cam and head are pretty strong, I've heard. Anyway, there's a lot of effort that is associated with this engine swap. So it's cool that this one has it. And it's also equipped with a catalytic converter, which was a big discussion before historic registration was implemented, where if you had a car that didn't have a catalytic converter on it, it was super expensive to pay the road tax for it. Nowadays, if you have the historic registration, it's okay if you just don't have any catalytic converters. But back in the day, this was something that people would do to skirt these these taxes. So yeah, other than that, there's not too much that's been changed on it visually. It has Cadet D instruments, and then the 32-inch rate steering wheel was a staple back in the day. You can see the style is similar to that Ascona we looked at. Yeah, stock body, lowered, and some nice paint and small wheels. I think we'll leave this video here. On this note, we'll get into this next time. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know, of course, if you have any suggestions for video ideas, anything you would like to see or would like to see me talk about. Yeah, I hope to see you all again next time when we talk about Opel's jet age, rocket age. It's gonna be a great time. It'll be fun. So make sure to stick around and come back next time to hear all about that. Until then, guys, goodbye. Good night.